So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the One Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my co-host Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, all right, not too bad. It's nearly the weekend. Storm Agnes is upon us, and first name storm of the year, and there's nothing happened. It was a bit of a damp squib, wasn't it? Pretty much a bit like the Washington Commanders' performance against the Bills, but I'm sure we'll
Ooh,
uh,
yeah.
we'll get into that. So yeah, I mean that's probably where we start off. We'll start off with a little bit of news that's come out in the news this week, which is that the NFL have introduced an international fan of the year. Seven eligible countries, including Mexico, Germany, Canada, and the very own United Kingdom. So, not sure if we're going to put ourselves forward for International Fan of the Year, but maybe we will, maybe we won't. Who knows? We don't know. But it is out there if you want to sign up and you want to put yourself forward if you're listening to this, because obviously, just because we run a podcast, we're no better than anyone who listens to this podcast. And if you want to put yourself forward, it's nfl.com/fan. So yeah, that is all the
Or you
news,
can
really.
vote for one of us as
Yeah, if
well.
you want to,
Choose one
yeah,
as well,
absolutely. Put us in. You know what I mean? Put us in. I don't mind. I don't mind going to Detroit in April. It'll be fine. Yeah, I think first prize is the draft, isn't it, Scouse? I think it's
Yeah. Winner
tickets
gets
to
to
the
go to the
draft.
draft. I think it's two, isn't it? It's two tickets. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. And I think each of the 32 teams have got a representative. And then I think overall, I don't know what the actual winner is going to get. Not sure, but
I thought
yeah,
it was
maybe.
wasn't that the draft ticket? No, what was that?
No, the draft ticket, everybody goes
Oh,
individually
right,
to the
okay.
draft. And I think the actual full winner will get something at the draft. Don't know
A
what
little
it'll
bit,
be.
a little bit sweeter.
Maybe.
That's cool.
So we'll get into it. We're a bit late, obviously, to the party because we record on a Thursday and you've probably heard it already and you're probably sick of hearing it already, but we'll go through it anyway. So we'll look at our game reaction. Obviously, Washington are now 2-1 against the Buffalo Bills, who are also now 2-1. And it finished 37 points to 3 in Buffalo's favor. Obviously, in our pre-game show, we talked about containing Josh Allen, making sure he's stuck in the pocket. And we'll go through the stats in a minute, but I'll give you the headlines now. So Sam Howell was 19 of 29, 170 yards and 4 interceptions. B-Rob, 10 carries for 70 yards. Curtis Samuel, 2 receptions for 54 yards. And then on the other side, we've got Josh Allen with 20 of 32, 218 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, 46 rushing yards, and a rushing TD. James Cook, 15 carries for 98 yards, and Stephon Diggs, 8 receptions for 111 yards. Now, I don't remember it being that big, or it didn't seem to be that big when I watched the game for Stephon Diggs. So I was a bit surprised when I looked at that stat. But what was your overall thoughts then, Scouse, on this? All we can say is arse kicking, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was painful. It was full on painful. You know, there's so many things that went wrong with that game, and we can pick it all apart if you want. I mean, but there's a lot to go off. EB. I don't think he was calling the right plays. I don't think he. I think his play calling wasn't great. I think Sam Howell was obviously he was poor. He held the ball again too long, but also, you know, he's making ridiculous decisions. You can tell he was flustered, and it was the first time I've seen him kind of like lose his head that way. Even in college, he wasn't like that. So that was a bit of a shocker for me. It's and B Rob was averaging 7 yards a carry, but we stopped running the ball. Like, what's that
Yeah.
about? Do you know? See what I mean? Like, it's just all these things that come back to it. Does come back to EB eventually. All these things. Um, I just wasn't impressed with his play calling. Defense kept us in it for a while. I say it was 16-0 start of the fourth, and then everything just went Pete Tong from there. So the scoreline, it did flatter them a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. There was a few there that we just somehow making ridiculous decisions, getting picked off. In our own red zone. Gibby with his fumble. Doing stupid pirouettes in the middle of the field. Which is grade A. That's something that you get taught at high school. You don't do shit like that in that position. So again, it's just people just doing stupid things, and but the good news is most of it is correctable, and it's down to EB to sort that out.
Yeah, I was going to get into that really. I mean, we won't go through the whole individual performances of everything, but I suppose we can look at who stood out for us, if there was any positives to take from this. I mean, one thing I have seen post the game is obviously Kendall Fuller's stats. Kendall Fuller got an interception, first one of the season, and it looks like he's kind of playing at an all-pro level at the moment. You know, he's he's blocked down. Emmanuel Forbes, as well as the top-rated cornerback in rookies in the entire NFL. He's actually
so when you've got Fuller and you've got him playing immensely playing so well, how is Stefon Diggs getting over 100 yards and 8 carries and eight catches?
Is it up the middle? Is it the linebackers that haven't there? Is it the safety?
There is no linebackers, so I suppose it probably is in the slot, isn't it? Really, it's probably little. I just didn't really notice Stefon Diggs that much.
That's what I was saying to you. It was weird when I looked at that stat and I thought, is that correct? And I had to like double check it, and it's bang on, 111 yards in 8 carries. And I was thinking to myself, I don't really remember him going off. Maybe I've missed it when I look back, but I can't really remember him going off on one at the statistics there. But I think you're probably right. It is going to be up the middle, especially if we've got them 2 corners playing so well at the minute. So I suppose they are positives to take out of it. But you're absolutely right, mate. It's about EB's play calling. This was a game, I think, where every facet of the game didn't work. I mean, we could only say probably, it's excusable to have Joey Sly kick a field goal at the end and Cheeseman's snap was all right. Great. But, even special teams like the Gunners weren't very quick. The punting wasn't brilliant from Tressway again. And you think, this is not, I'm not trying to single anyone out in particular. I just think all spheres of the ball, offense, defense, specials, we're coaching as well. We didn't do well. We didn't do well enough. And for whatever reason, we pretty much just shit the bed.
I mean, it was, it's just say it was painful to watch. I mean, I was a hell of a lot more angry from our post-reaction pod that we did live on Sunday night there. But it's one of them things, it's like everything. It's painful for a fan to see that kind of crap. And we got back. I mean, offense didn't do anything. Let's face it. Besides B-Rob, but again, that's on EB for not giving him more ball. That's a simple fact. That's on EB. But everything else was just wasn't there. I mean, you can go on about the O-line. The O-line, there's only Cosme playing well. I mean, everybody else can just leave right now. Honest to God.
Well, I totally agree with you, and you'll.
I know you can say stats and shit like that because you'll see it. Oh yeah, well Leno didn't give up a pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
And this and that, the other. But the thing is that there's still shit in the run game as well. And the thing, and when RPOs are being done with what Hal was trying to do, again, some of that doesn't even correlate because obviously sometimes the O-line's looking at kind of trying to play the run, but really it's not a run play. It's now become a pass play. Do you see what I mean? So it's all those or he's gone off on his own, doing his own thing, Sam. So again, sometimes you can let the O-line, some of the stats can be a little bit deceiving, and I think this O-line is still isn't that good, mate. I mean, I don't care if Leno.
Yeah, I mean,
decent enough game is in pass rushing, but one game he was crap, so.
I don't know. I've listened to a few pods here, and like Logan Paulson I listened to today on Kai's pod, and he basically said, look, if you haven't got a rookie quarterback, you got a middle-of-the-road QB, mid-15th, this O-line won't show up the way it's shown up at the moment. You wouldn't see it for what it is. It wouldn't look as bad as what it is what he was saying.
Yeah, I mean that's
a lot of the pressure he was saying was on Sam Howell. I mean, I looked at PFF, and again, stats, we talked about stats. That can be manipulated whichever way you want. PFF has as great as the 3rd best run defense on offensive line. So when it's a run play, we're 3rd best in the league. Genuinely. Yeah. 100%. I mean, I'll pull it.
This is why I take PFF. I mean, I'm one.
I know.
Take PFF with a pinch of salt. Like, I'm not going to lie, because I mean, some of the stats they come up with, you go, wait a minute, how's that even right? Are you anywhere near that? So I'm the jury's still out on that one, mate. Because end of the day, we're not powering teams over, are we? Really, with the run game, we're not doing 200 yards on the ground every week.
Yeah. So here's his 3rd highest run blocking rate. Yet we refuse to get the run game going. The best way you can help your QB is to get going with steady runs. So yeah, looking at this, I mean, PFF's run graded. Philadelphia Eagles are the highest, then the Ravens, then us. Yeah,
really.
So PFF has it as a 63. SIS has us as 85 and ESPN has us as a 53. So overall, we're the third highest for some bizarre reason. But again, yeah, I'll take stats with a pinch
can't
of
see
salt.
that. We just don't see. I mean, don't get me wrong. B-Rob has been like legit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He really has. And again, you got to give some props to the offensive line because without that, he gets nothing. But
Cosme's playing well. You know what I mean?
Cosme is playing at an all-pro level. I think he's playing at an all-pro level. He hasn't given up anything. I don't think all season playing in guard. I don't think he's given up any. I think he's given up like one pressure. I think, and the rest of no sacks. And we've had 19 sacks in the first 3 games. So.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that rate has to come down. You're on for 106 sacks over the season. I mean, this is something that, and this leads to it. Really, is we've got a guy who is effectively a rookie quarterback. He started 4 games.
Yeah,
effectively he is a rookie quarterback, even though he's in his second year. Now, you've got to think to yourself here, do you want to see that carousel that we've had for so long at quarterback where we're going to get, the second stringer in, the third stringer in? Because ultimately, if these sacks keep happening, he is not going to stay healthy and play 17 games or 18 games, 17 games. It's just not going to happen. It's fact of life. He's going to get hurt at some point, especially when we look at the first 3 games. 2 of them games, they've been headhunting. Teams have been 100%. Out there trying to smash him, continually trying to smash him and hurt him. We saw it in the Cardinals game. We saw it also in the Denver game. And I mean, what do we think Philly's going to do?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'll get onto that. We will get onto that. But I mean, you simply cannot keep that going at a clip of 9 sacks last week. And I mean, out of them 9 sacks, I think we look back at it and we thought 6 were probably on Sam Howell. The worrying stat from the offensive line, and I know you love your big boys up front now on the offensive line. It's your area to look at. The worrying bit for me is actually Nick Gates. Yeah, he's a nasty guy, but he's given up 6 sacks in 2 games.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Exactly. And don't forget, man.
He's not a centre. He's not a centre.
That was going to be my point.
Sorry, mate.
At the end of the day, he's not a centre. He's actually a guard, but he wants to play centre because he likes leading the line. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it's like, mate, you need to go back to guard because you suck at a fucking centre and give Stromberg the chance to start there. Because I think Stromberg's got what it takes. I think
so do I.
Just needs to play regularly and get experience.
I mean, you don't win that. Well, I can't remember what the actual winning trophy was, if you like, but he was basically the best offensive centre in the SEC.
Yeah,
I mean,
the best league in college. So yeah. I mean, that's it. This guy has got experience at the college level, but now he's
4-year starter
NFL level. But I don't. But yeah, we're playing Nick Gates there. He is a kind of nasty that you like on the O line. But the thing is, you can't be that nasty if he keeps getting pinged and giving up 6 sacks over 2 games. It's not great. I mean, he's shocking. Wiley's god awful.
Oh, awful. Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Me, Wiley's
I'd cut him tomorrow.
His footwork isn't good enough to be a tackle in the NFL. He gets found out against good pass rushers, but that's understandable. I say if his footwork isn't good enough, he shouldn't be playing tackle. It's simple as that. And he's not quick enough either.
And that's partly the odds. Scouts, that's part of the problem, isn't it? Because if you've got someone like Cosme who's finally realised I'm probably not quite good enough to be a tackle at the NFL level, and now I'm playing at probably all-pro level, at right guard. You can't then switch him back out to right tackle.
No.
So,
that's such a difficult situation for like EB to be in because it's like, that Wiley's, well, I like to think he knows he's shit. I mean, I don't know because EB actually signed the guy, but you've got that. And then you go, okay, then if you swap Cosme around, then you're gonna get more offensive line play dropping because obviously his level's gonna drop because he's playing tackle now.
Mm-hmm.
Gates has been shite, and then you got the and then you look at the left side, which Charles has been decent actually, and I'm gonna give him that. And now it's been okay, but again, not great, but been okay.
But yeah, it's been the right tackle that's been the problem. Yeah, it hasn't been the
him in the center. Him in the center been the worst people on our line this season. So I think something's got to change there. But I don't know what the best play is because you're obviously paying Wiley all that money, so you're not gonna drop him as in like you're gonna put him on the bench. So I can't see that. So he's going to start somewhere. So where are you going to start him? You play him at right guard. As I mentioned before, you miss out, then you lose Cosme's kind of all-pro level at that position, and you probably drop his level because he's playing tackle now, which he struggled last year with. Or you can go throw him at left guard, but then Charles has been playing well. So again, so what do you do? And he's not a centre, so you're not going to play Wiley at centre. So it's kind of like, well, you know, it's a difficult situation, man. I know what they're going to do. They're going to keep him playing, and they're going to stick him at right tackle still, and hope that he can get over it, but and coach it better. But to be fair, he's been in the NFL like 7 years. If he can't do it now, he's never going to be able to do it at the level required. So
it's difficult, isn't it? Because I mean, I'll pose this to you then, Scouse. If you're in charge now and it was your offensive line and you were the head coach, what are you doing to make changes to that then? You said you're looking at Stromberg.
Yeah,
are you kicking Gates out to left guard?
I'm kicking Gates. I'm kicking Gates out, but I need to know what he's got at guard. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But before saying he's going to start ahead of Charles, because Charles has been doing okay. He's been really good in the screen game actually, which I'm really shocked about. But obviously we didn't play any screens this week. But the first couple of games he was really good at it. So I need to see a bit more from Gates in training to know, is he good enough to start ahead of Charles at left guard? Because that's the place that I'd put Gates. If he was going to be playing, I'd put Stromberg in at center, give him the shot there. And then for me, it's like kind of I say it's a hard one because you don't want to come across as like that you fucked up and you signed this guy and it was a big time mistake. You know what I mean? As in like Wiley I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
I know where you're going.
So it's kind of like, well, do you keep him in? But if it was obviously if I signed him for that big money, I'd have to start him. I've got to kind of prove that it was the right call to sign this guy. But realistically, if it was just a clean slate and this was just my O-line and I had no bias like that, then he'd be out the team.
Would you have Cornelius Lucas?
And I'd probably start Lucas and see how it goes. Now, again, I know Lucas is not a full-time starter. He'll give you good games, he'll give you bad. But then you can get Wiley kind of, you know, in and out the team. You know what I mean? Like play him as a swing tackle type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I've Lucas there, at least for this season, as the starter at right tackle.
Yeah, interesting one, isn't it? I mean,
it's difficult, man.
It does really annoy me because it seems as if they're kind of sticking band-aids on it, or they're trying to plaster over the cracks.
Well, they always have, haven't they? I mean, this whole line's been neglected for like 5 years, you know. So,
oh yeah, since Trent went, obviously, you know, and then Scherf as well. We could go back to that. I mean, he was never going to go.
Line around that time. We had Trent, who is the best left tackle. And now no one was saying at the time, besides us, but as soon as he moved to San Francisco, oh my God, how good's this dude? Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. We all know how good Trent Williams is. And then you've got, and we had a prime Roulier. We had a prime
Roulier as well, yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was center. And then we had, Scherf and Moses.
Morgan Moses, yeah.
For the life of me, I can't remember left guard, but those forward were pretty sweet, man. And it wasn't
Eric Flowers was all right, at guard.
He was playing. He played well, but I don't think he was in that offensive line that I'm talking
about. No, I don't think he was.
I think he only played a couple of years, didn't he, left. But yeah, I mean, if it was him, then even better, because that's even how good is that offensive line? You know, so three of them were first round picks. You think about it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
See what I mean? And nowadays we've got none. We've got no first round picks on the O line, not one. Because let's face it, as you know, a lot of times getting an elite offensive lineman is hard, and it's also very expensive. It's also very,
and that's part of the problem. I mean, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, why don't we go after the guy who was at the Chiefs, was it, and went to
Brown,
Bengals, Orlando Brown?" I'm like, hold on a minute, we're not going to pay $50 million a year for a fucking tackle.
They didn't even pay. To be fair, though, they got him on the cheap, man. I mean, I think they could have got him cheap. I mean, I'll get the contract up, but it's a lot less than you think. You know,
I do remember talking about that, thinking he absolutely fumbled the bag there, because I think the Bengals the Chiefs
offered him a lot more, didn't he? And he said no.
Yeah, I do remember that. But yeah, looking at it on the market, I mean, Jesse brought this up on the bunker. I did listen to that, and obviously he was saying, where would you have gone? That's the point. There wasn't much in off-season in free agency. There isn't, an outstanding tackle that was on the board that you could get, because we weren't in that position to take a tackle,
well, there was a tackle there available, but obviously, hindsight's 20,
Yeah, you're not going to take it though, are you? At that level,
16. I mean, it's one of them. I mean, yeah. So Orlando Brown's contract is a 4-year, $64 million contract, 31 mil signing bonus, and 31 guaranteed. So his average annual salary is 16 mil. So again,
wow, actually, it's not as high as I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. You were thinking 25.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, about that. Yeah, but then
that's
that
what I mean.
31 mil is what they've done there, isn't it? They've just converted it all and obviously wanted the money up front. So fair play to him.
Exactly. And obviously, okay, yes, we had Dan Snyder as owner at the time, so obviously he wasn't going to put any money up front like that. He's going to wait for the new owners to do stuff like that. So I get it. So I understand why we couldn't afford him, but it was definitely, we had to be looking at these dudes or looking for a trade of a guy, or something to try and shore up this offensive line. Now I understand, we've got new guys from, free agency. We got Wiley, we got Gates, but the thing is, though, these guys are just bang average. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's what we've paid. We've paid bang average money for bang average players, and it needs it. Actually, this always kind of pisses me off. It's like the most important position in the field is who? Who's the quarterback? Exactly, it's the quarterback who gets paid the most money usually when they're good. The quarterback, okay? Well, why is that? Because they are the most important guy in the team. If you can protect a quality quarterback, they're going to tear other teams apart. If you can't protect any quarterback, they're all going to get smoked. And that's the problem that we've got. We're thinking, oh, we don't need that. We can just scheme it open. We can just do this. No, you just can't.
That's why, in my opinion, like
find it out now.
Your quarterback isn't your best position. It's your left tackle and your secondary left tackle. That's what you need to.
Well, yeah, if you've got a right-handed thrower, if you get your right-handed quarterback,
absolutely,
But again, left tackle is the premier position, same as corner.
Of course it is. Yeah.
They are the premier positions. An offensive line, you might go, well, besides left tackle, you go, well, it's not really a premier position. But at the end of the day, if you can't keep your quarterback upright, you're going to get beat. It's as simple as that. And this is what's happening to us at the moment. Sam's still learning his game. He's taking that extra second too long, and he's going to get hurt because of it as well. Our offensive line's is not good enough. Really, it's not for what we need, for what Sam's meant to be to help him. It's not good enough for what we need. We need like an Eagles O line. That's what we need. A top level O line. But I know some of these dudes are hard to get hold of. You know what I mean? I get it, but we need to address it somehow in the draft over the past 4 years that Ron's been here and he hasn't.
So we'll get onto it then, really, and we'll go a bit more in depth on Sam. I mean, what were your thoughts? Obviously, 4 picks. We knew a game like this was going to come at some point. We all said it.
Of course. I mean, the only silver lining for this is that it happened against a team that, to be honest, we all thought we would lose to.
Correct. Yeah.
So I mean, if it was against like the Arizona Cardinals and we got beat, I'd be like, oh no, this is a disaster. But being that we lost to a team that I thought we'd lose to anyway, it's not the end of the world. And it will be a good learning thing for him. It really will. He will learn from it because if you look at the tape, because you can see he's one of them dudes who, he probably learns more from a loss than he does from a win. And I think, so he's only going to get better from it. But you are going to get bad games at times. You are going to get it. And it's just a case of how he responds. And obviously we'll find out next week when he's got another acid test against the Eagles. If he can produce, if he can get his head back in the game and even just be half decent, that tells me that he's learned from the old game and his head's not gone. You know what I mean? He's not lost his confidence, and that's important for a young quarterback as well. I mean, you look at like Zach Wilson, for example. How bad was he in his rookie season? I mean, and he had to play every week, and he was horrible, wasn't he? So, and he lost all his confidence, and then realized he wasn't the man, or he wasn't just the man yet. So they got Rodgers in. Now, obviously that didn't work out, but you see what I mean? Though it's kind of like you're going to give the guy the season. See what he's got, but you are going to get highs and lows 100%, and it's understandable.
Well, Josh Allen wasn't amazing in his first year. Let's be honest. Let's look back at that.
No, he was bad. He was actually bad. Say these things happen. Most quarterbacks don't come in the league, start day one, and just light the league up. It's very, very rare you see that. I mean,
even if you look at like generational talents that have come out in a while, Trevor Lawrence is the same. He had a poor first season.
Poor first season.
It's the same. It's going to be. It's expected.
Holmes didn't even play his first season besides the last game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is one of them. It's the hardest position in sports to play, and it takes a lot. It takes a long time to get to up to speed at the NFL level. Everything's faster. In college, you can probably get away with having the ball 3.5 seconds and
yeah.
You can't do
You're
that in the
absolutely
NFL.
right. It's he's holding it a tick too long,
Yeah,
as we've all
it's only
known.
1 second, but it's a
Of
big
course, it
difference
is.
in the NFL.
Yeah, and then the other thing as well is, which I'm a bit, I'm getting a bit gripped by. Is I look at him and think, Sam, you can't be smashing yourself into linebackers and thinking,
Yeah,
I'm going to
he
get the
thinks he can
better of
take the
them.
hits. His
He
body will
could
let
in
him down at some
college. He
point.
could in college, but not at this level, mate. It's not going to happen for you,
Up
unfortunately.
against DBs, he'll be fine, but against
Yeah.
linebackers and big boys, front, no, you're going to get hurt, and that's the thing he's got to understand as well.
Yeah, and we've read this book, and we've had this path before where we've thought we've had a quarterback and who's lit it up, had a great season to start off with, and you think we're onto it here. This is the franchise guy, and then injury strikes, and then it goes downhill from there. Absolutely, and there are similarities there. You know what I mean? Through both of them, there are similarities there in the way that they're playing. But we have to remember, Hal isn't superhuman. He's not the Messiah. He is.
He's just a talented.
He's a very naughty boy.
But he's still a blob of clay at the moment. You got to motivate what you need. Do you know what I mean? He's got the talent. He's got the tools. It's just about kind of getting it right every time, and knowing everything that he's doing is the first he's ever done. You know what I mean? As in, like, playing a game where he had a bad game. This is the first time he's gone through that in the NFL.
Yep.
It's all these types of things. Everything's a first for him, so that's why you got to treat him like a rookie, like you mentioned before. It is even though it's a second season, really, it's still
his rookie season, isn't it? Yeah. Four games.
Yeah, it's 4 games, and also this is a new system again, so it's not like he's familiar with the system, So, there's going to be. I say there's going to be peaks and troughs. There's going to be big learning moments, and there's going to be great plays, and there's going to be some really dumb plays. And it's, we've seen it already in 3 games. We've seen that. We've seen the highs and lows already of Sam Howell. So, yeah, man. Some of the decisions were poor. I'm not going to lie. Some of them really were. I'm big on Howell, as you know, but some decision making was like, whoa, wait a minute, bro. This ain't great. But again, I think his head was gone. I think after he was trying to chase it, and then he made even more mistakes. I think that he just curtailed just all the way, just that down to kind of, Zach Wilson level.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll move on then to our next segment, which is my favourite segment of the show. It is Scouse's Sizzle.
Scouse's Sizzle, baby.
Thanks, I'm Mike Tyson.
Good on, Mike. Yeah, so where do you start? Where do you start with this? It could be so many different things that I could choose. But for me, it's EB. It really is, man. It really is. He's really pissed me off with his play calling. I just think, like, why are you going away from the run when it was successful? And don't forget, man, we were only 16-0 down up until the end of the third. So we could have still ran the ball. It wasn't like we had to chase it a little bit, but we didn't have to go all out and gung-ho, which is what he made Howell do, was throw the ball continually, which obviously he was struggling anyway. So he didn't help his quarterback in any way. He's expecting to be like Pat Mahomes was, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, he learned it straight away. It was easy for him. No, Pat Mahomes is a different beast compared to Howell, So this is what really pissed me off. It's like, mate, you're meant to be this superstar, players coach and great play caller and multiple winner. I didn't see any, and I have praised him for actual in-game adjustments in the first couple of games, but the last game here, he didn't do any adjustments. He just kept on doing it the way it was. He ran away from the run, man, and I say we were successful with the run, and that's what really pissed me off. Is that why would you move away from something that was working? And this is and everything falls on EB for this one. I think a lot of this loss is on him, and I'm just fucking pissed off with him, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think you can run 30 pass plays every game in the first half and expect to win a game. You know what I mean? Especially as you said, the run is there. Look, don't get me wrong. Denver game, you're absolutely chasing it. You've got to go for it through the air. Cardinals game, bit hit and miss. You could probably explain, I don't understand why he's run 30 passes again in the first half there. But against the Bills, as you said, we're 16-0 down in the fourth quarter. Or or was it the midway in the third? I can't remember exactly where it was. But
we got to the start of the fourth quarter. It was still 16-0. There was only 2 scores. No, with 2-point conversions.
Exactly.
There was 2 scores in. So why go away from it? It didn't
especially
make
when you're getting
man.
7 yards a carry. You know exactly. What I mean? That is what is just mind
we never saw Oscar Gibson doing that stupid pirouette thing and then losing the ball. We didn't see him again the rest of the game, and we didn't see Chris Rodriguez either. It's like I didn't see much of him. So what's going on? Why are we going away from the run? It doesn't make any sense. Anyone with a brainstem knows to help a young quarterback out. What do? You rely on the run game and the short passing game. It's as simple as that, and make it easier for him with the reads. So or RPOs or even just like two reads and the ball's gone. Simple as that. Don't even think about read 3 and 4. See what I mean? Make it easier for him. But for me, it's like no, mate. This is my system, and you've got to learn on the go. And against high quality teams, you're going to get burned. That's exactly what happened last week. So
we've touched on a few. Man. It is on EB. You've touched on a few points there, Scouse, actually, and they're kind of relating to our fan questions. So we'll get into that. So Christian from obviously UK HTTC blogs, and also your co-host on, one of your co-hosts on Red Zone in the Lab International, I think it is, or UK edition.
It's Red Zone in the UK. Yeah.
Red Zone in the UK. Thank you. My apologies. Shout out to Deuce, by the way, as well. It's great. I love listening to that just before on a Sunday. So if you've got the chance, get on YouTube, just write in Red Zone in the Lab, and you'll find Scouse and Christian on the weekend previewing the game normally.
And Deuce.
Deuce was in a toilet last time I looked at him in a hotel room at 3 a.m, which is a bit mad. So Christian's asked, is Antonio Gibson in Last Chance Saloon then as a traditional running back too?
I think he's blown it. I think he's done. I really do. I don't think he's going to be RB2 anymore. I can't see this guy getting a lot of ball at all now. I think he's burned his bridges a little bit. Do you know what I mean? He fumbled in the first. Did he fumble in the first game? Remind me.
Yeah, he did. He
in the red zone, wasn't it?
In the red zone, yeah.
And he's done it. And he did it again, but this time in our red zone. So again, I'm just you can't trust him with the ball. So if you can't
not through the middle. No.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you try and play some sort of outside zone or a quick screen to him or something, then where he's running out wide, then okay. But again, I can't see the enemy using them at all. I really can't. I think that, and about an injury, I don't see this guy playing that much at all. I reckon he's been demoted really to RB3.
It's interesting that because you constantly brought this up ever since obviously Gibby had his fumbling issues. He didn't have his fumbling issues obviously last season. It was the season before.
But he seen them differently last season.
They did, but at the same time, you've always said he's traditionally, he is a wide receiver that's playing running back. Mm-hmm. And that is evident. The way he holds the ball, the way he holds it too high. He holds it loose like a wide receiver. He doesn't hold it high and tight.
And we mentioned about kind of, within when you run in between the tackles, you've got all the big beasts in the way, all trying to knock the ball out. There's about 4 or 5 guys every time trying to punch that ball out of his hands.
And it always seems to be that peanut punch that does it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every single time.
It's not like he's actually dropping the ball on the floor himself.
Or slipping out of his hands. No, someone's punching it out. But the thing is, it's like that's the problem. It's like that's always been his issue. But again, it's understandable to a certain extent. He's a wide receiver. He was always like a gadget kind of dude, but he's mostly a wide receiver in college. And when we thought, this guy's built like 220, 6'3", great hands, fast. He's got all the attributes to be a great running back. But the thing is, he doesn't have great hands under pressure when these big guys try and knock the ball out of his hands. And again, because he's not a real running back. It's as simple as that. It's simple as that.
I agree with you, Scouse. I think he has probably this ship has sailed.
I think he's done.
I actually think when we got Chris Rodriguez in the draft, I kind of had a bit of a second look then and thought, how is this going to work out for Gibby then? I mean, yeah, he's had his issues. I think
Gibson was done anyway because we're never going to hire him back. I mean, this is
this is it.
He's never going to get he wasn't going to get, even after last season's performances, he wasn't going to get an extension unless he really blew the top off this year. But
injured a lot as well.
It's just blowing his actual position on the team. So it's he's done.
Playing through injuries a lot as well, and he has
he's injury prone, isn't he? He's got this problem. But again, you're asking a guy to take a battering who's not used to it. You see what I mean?
Exactly that.
So again, who do you blame? Do you blame Gibson? Do you blame the coaching staff? Yeah, there's so many different reasons.
So Tim Town has asked us a question here, and he said, and it's a great question, by the way, Tim. So thank you.
Tim's always
good this one in. This is a head scratcher for me and a bit of a deep dive. So I'll give it to you. I'll bat this one off and go, cheers, Scouse. Here you go. So it says, if you were Ron Rivera and actually watched the film to self-scout your own team, what tendencies have you seen that need to be switched up? It seems that Buffalo knew them all. And I think this boils down to, obviously, interviews after the Buffalo game where people were saying, we knew that Sam Howell held it longer on third down. We knew that he looked at his reads and he's fixated into the middle of the field. So they knew when to bring the pressure and when to move forward and when not to. I believe that's what Tim's trying to get on there. But if you were Ron and you were actually watching the film and self-scouting your own team, what tendencies have you seen that need to be switched up? I think we've discussed the O-line, I think. A little bit
discussed
already,
the O-line.
Yeah.
The protection isn't great. But again, as you say, Sam Howell hold on the ball too long. Again, it's intertwined, isn't it? If the quarterback's holding the ball for an extra second longer than normal NFL level, then the guys are going to get past the O-line, so they are going to hit. They're going to hit Sam Howell quite hard, So it's a difficult one. But if I'm looking at our offense, I'm thinking they don't really run the ball that much. So I'm not going after kind of eight in the box or stack the box. There's no point. Sam Howell holds the ball too long. O-line isn't the best. Let's blitz them. That's what we do. I'll be all out blitzing every single time until they start burning me on a few plays of a quick short passing or a quick screen or whatever it is to get away from the pass rush and the blitz. I'll be just continually blitzing us all the time, every single time until you beat it. Come and beat us. That's the tendency I'm looking at. Pressure every single time. I'm just throw everybody at it because O-line won't hold up and Howell holds the ball too long.
I think it's evident when you're playing a defense as good as Buffalo. I mean, I'm not going to lie, they are probably
they're good. 10, top 10 defense. Top 3 team. Yeah.
Well, they're definitely top 10, 100%. But I mean, you could argue top 5. Don't know, but Ed Oliver's great.
Cleveland's excellent. They're really good this year on defense.
49ers, Philly.
49ers, Ravens, good.
Ravens.
You want to put us in there, okay?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're looking at, they're definitely top 5, top 6 there or thereabouts.
They made the other two defenses look like the poor vision.
You're absolutely right.
Arizona and Denver's defense compared to what they were. Big step up in level.
But if I was watching the film and looking at this and scouting as Ron Rivera, I would question my linebackers completely. I still have absolutely no idea, Tim, why a linebacker and a former NFL linebacker and Jack Del Rio as a defensive coordinator, who's also a linebacker, cannot spot a linebacker and put them out there. Cody Barton is awful. Not going to lie to you here at all. He gives you absolutely nothing more than Cole Holcomb. I mean, Cole Holcomb, great, played really well the other night for Pittsburgh. Great to see him playing well on a different team and doing what he was going to do over here in Washington. But we weren't willing to pay that money. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're not paying him $12 million a year. It's just.
Oh, what he's on there? 12 million.
Oh yeah, he's on a good wedge. So it's one of them. We've got him generic linebacker A, as I like to call him. It's a dude with the whitest name in the world who's going to play it middle linebacker. And I don't think he's good enough to play middle linebacker. I think we need to move Jamin Davis back into the middle linebacker, give him the green dot again, and start getting him to call plays because it isn't working. The linebacker duo as they are is not working, or you get rid of him and you switch him up and put Khaliki Hudson in and see how he goes.
And how bad does Khaliki Hudson must feel that he can't get in the team? These bums, you know what I mean? And they are literally bums. Even Jamin Davis, I mean, a couple of games even there, he's been a couple of plays, he's been good. He hasn't been excellent. He was excellent one game against Denver. He was all right. He was good. But in general, he hasn't been amazing. He's a first round pick, and this is his third year now. He hasn't blown anybody, blown anybody's mind. End of the day, I think it's a little bit of arrogance from Ron and Del Rio. I think, as you mentioned before, that Ron was part of the '85 Bears starting linebacker.
Saying exactly.
You know what I mean? One of the best defenses of ever of all time. And yeah, you go, oh yeah, we think we can fucking get this guy, the bargain basement dude, and make him into a world beater. You can't. You can't polish a turd. Do you know what I mean? You just can't. It can't be done. It can't be done. Stop.
You can roll it in glitter, those scouts, and make you look nice for a play or two, can't you? But that's about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Even Cody Barham will look good in one play. You know what I mean? Like, so it's about consistency and how good you really are. And these guys just aren't consistent enough. They're not good enough. To make a massive difference. I mean, if these guys were your backups, then you wouldn't be too bothered. You'd be like, okay, yeah, they're okay for backups, but not as starters. These guys aren't that good, man. I mean, Jamin Davis, the best thing for him is to play him like Micah Parsons was playing last year.
Yeah.
I mean, for Dallas, he was basically blitzing the
situational pass rusher. That's exactly what he was.
He was pass rushing a lot. And obviously they played with 3 linebackers, so they had the other 2 covering. When he went for it, they moved to defensive end this year, but last year he was actually playing linebacker, and he was being a genuine threat to the quarterback. And I think that's the way you should play Davis, because he's that fast, and he hasn't got to think as much as about get to the quarterback. That's it. Use athleticism, let him go. Just take the handbrake off him and go ahead. You know what I mean? And I think if you're going to play Davis, that's the best way of playing him. The problem is that you've got absolutely piss poor linebacker next to him, and you've got I don't like us playing so many defensive backs. Playing in this kind of like as a hybrid type of linebacker dude, or
Buffalo nickel. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like him. I love Cam Curl. I mean, one of my favorite players. I hate him playing down there because I know he's just going to get hurt at some point, because he is not built to be smashing people up every single play or nearly every play like a linebacker does.
Top tackler in our team. Scouts were 26 so far this season. Yeah. That says it all, really, doesn't it?
He's an excellent. He's a great tackler. He's a great player. The thing is, though, I just don't like him being there. You know what I mean?
Your safety shouldn't be your top tackler. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be that person who's doing that. It should always probably be your will linebacker or your middle linebacker.
Yeah, it should be a linebacker, really, shouldn't it? Yeah. That should be your main, because you're going to get past the D-line and then you're into the next level where you're there. You should be there to make those tackles.
Correct.
But man, so I think from obviously I spoke about offense before about looking at deficiencies, and if you're watching tape, if you're looking at the defense, I'll be looking at, okay, where's St. Goat and where's Cam Curl, because wherever Cam Curl is, you throw to the other side. Simple as that, because he'll just stop you. He's just that good. So then you go, okay, then you're going to go up against Forbes. If Curl's on the other side, for example, you go up against Forbes or Fuller, who are both playing very well at the moment. So it's very difficult to burn those guys. So me, I'm going for St. Goat. I'm going after him. And I'm going after Derek Forrest as well. They're the 2 guys I'm going after. I'm making plays to get one-on-one with those 2 dudes. That's what I'd be doing if I was like an offensive guy, thinking, am I gonna beat this defense? If it is like the linebacker, because Cam Curl comes down a lot. Say he always marks a tight end, for example. So maybe a tight end wouldn't get a lot of ball if Cam Curl's marking him, for example. So you're gonna go deep. You're gonna go against Forrest. You're gonna go against St. Just. You know what I mean? So that's what I look at, because St. Goat can actually produce most of the time, but not all the time. He can be burned. And Forrest can be burned. He got burned a couple of times. So because he's not a true free safety. He plays it, but he's not a natural, if that makes sense. He's a bit like a hybrid guy. He likes to play closer to the line of scrimmage, more like a strong, really. But you him as a free. So again, you at times you can scheme the mistake, if that makes sense. You can look for that mistake. And
I'd be avoiding Fuller as well now, especially the way he's playing.
You would, yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd be
Fuller,
like, no,
you'd avoid Forbes, or you might want to keep on trying him.
Test Forbes. I would test Forbes. Absolutely, yeah.
See what he does, but most of the time, I'd be looking for the other 2. I'd be looking for St. Just and Forrest. That's what I'd be looking at. Let's go after them. Get your best receivers on them. and go for it.
And if that is the case, and Juice has been in the slot, and obviously Forrest is there as well, does that not tell you why Stefan Diggs got so many yards last week?
Especially if he's going because he did a lot of slants.
Mm-hmm.
Diggs, he wasn't like loads over the top for him,
No,
So,
and that's what I mean. These stats can go missing, and what we said before, we didn't really notice Diggs going off, but to have 111 yards, it's like, oh, okay, what has actually gone wrong with the secondary there? Because something has gone wrong along that line. But you're absolutely right. Nothing. If I was doing it again, Tim, I wouldn't go round anywhere near. Obviously, the line. You know, what I mean, the line is the most solid part of this team that we have, including its backups. I think the edge rushers. Could you get away with dumping off a few screens, possibly going that way round? But you're gonna have to get the ball out quick.
A genuine runner threat, a deep threat. I'll be using the quarterback sneak a lot because you know that our defensive line spreads open. I mean, Josh Allen killed us a few times, and he could have killed us a lot more than what he did. He just didn't need to. Do you know what I mean? He just didn't need to. He just went through. After we went like 16-0, he just went through the motions. He did. They're not catching us. They're not scoring 16 or getting anywhere near us. So take it easy. And on major third downs, we were god awful.
No, we were awful.
And the first two games, we were actually ranked number 1 on third down. Third down defense. And then we got absolutely burned alive from Buffalo there.
I know. So thank you for that question, Tim. Really appreciate it. Martin Wargie. Obviously, shout out to Wargie. We need to get together again at some point and have a few scoops. He says early days, but are you happy with the draft? Obviously, double dipping on a corner at the expense of the O-line looks a folly to me, especially as Quan Martin seems to be a bit of a project. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a bit annoyed with Quan Martin at the minute, to be honest with you. He's constantly injured or he's on the injury report. We're not seeing much of him. Didn't have a brilliant preseason at all. Again, is he a project piece in the second round? I don't know. I really don't know.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake if he is a project to get a guy in the second round as a project.
Well, when you could have had Steve Villa, yeah. I mean,
yeah, Steve Villa was there.
Or lots of players.
I think Dewan Jones was still there at that point.
He was, yeah. He was.
And even if he didn't want to go that route, I mean, we could have traded up just 2 spots to get Brian Branch. He's been awesome. And he's a genuine quality.
He's been playing amazing for the Lions as well. He has been playing well.
That's what he does. He's a specialist in that area. Do you know what I mean? And he'd have been perfect for that Buffalo nickel role. But after that, after Brian Branch, he was the number 2 guy rated. So okay, I understand us going for him, even though I was upset at the time because I wanted O-line. O-line again. I mean, linebackers weren't that good, so I wouldn't have wanted that high on a linebacker, but I was desperate for some decent quality O-linemen, and we didn't get any until the third. And then you're not even playing them; you leave them on the bench. So again, for me, it's a bit like, well, what are you doing? You've got one guy who Forbes, who looks the part so far. He's been good, but then your next 2 have been. But no, Stromberg you've hardly played, and when he has, he's done okay, but you hardly played. He's not a starter, which again, your top 3 to 4 picks really should be starters. If you've drafted well, they should be starters.
AJ Henry.
AJ Henry. I mean, he was the 5th round, wasn't he? But
he was. Who was the 4th round? It's the tackle.
Daniels, and he was.
Is he on IR now?
No, he's in the practice squad, isn't he?
Oh yeah, is he practice squad? Wow.
Was it practice squad or was he IR?
No, I think he's on IR.
Doesn't really. I think what they've done is, I think it might be an IR.
Rotate a cuff. I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. Some blag injury because you don't want to fire him and you don't want to put him on a practice squad for that higher level of pick. That's all that is. He did that with Hodges as well last year, didn't he? Remember?
Yeah.
Didn't want to lose him, didn't want to cut him, but it wasn't good enough for the first team squad. So they kind of so that's what he did with Braden Daniels. So again, this draft so far has been pretty poor.
It's a disappointment, isn't it, so far?
Pretty poor.
I mean, I know it's early days. I get that, but
these guys will get better. They will, hopefully.
I'm not expecting any world beaters. I mean, when you're getting down at the bottom of the barrel, you're looking at Andre Jones. He's not getting many snaps at all as a 7th rounder. I mean, to be fair,
KJ Henry is always inactive.
Yeah, I know.
So Andre Jones is ahead of him on the depth chart. So So fair play to him for seventh rounder to push up against the guy in the fifth, and take his place.
Did we have a sixth round? Did we have a sixth round spot, or is that it? I think that was it, wasn't it?
He's seventh rounder, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm saying, did we have a sixth rounder? I can't remember if we did. I don't think we did we? I'm not sure. No, I don't think we did. I think it's because we traded up.
I think we did. We traded up, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. So,
what do we have? 2/7? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Either way, that tells you how well we've actually drafted this.
Yeah, because we don't remember exactly. That's what I mean.
If you don't remember the guy, then obviously he's done nothing. So, so all you've got really is your first rounder.
Exactly, and Emmanuel Forbes, as I said, is doing well. I mean,
and he was always going to be a solid pick, whoever picked him in the first or even the second round. So, I mean, better value a second, obviously, but I mean, he wouldn't have been there in the second. So, Pats would have took him probably. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So, a great question really at the moment. Piss poor, really, draft.
Absolutely, great question, Wargy. Appreciate that. So we'll get on to it then. We'll get on to our last segment of the day, and that is the preview of the next game, and it is away at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, it doesn't fill me with complete dread because we've done it before. We've gone in and we've gone to their home and we've beat them. Obviously, time of possession and other bits. We've got a quick injury report here. So Percy Butler is on the injury report with a foot. Limited practice last 2 days. Christian Rodriguez had an illness. Was limited practice.
That's who it was. That was a sixth rounder, Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there you go. We've just worked it out. Christian Rodriguez illness today with limited practice, and he was full go today. Actually, he was full go. Logan Thomas concussion limited yesterday and today. Benjamin St-Juste had a neck injury of some description, but he's been full practice Wednesday and Thursday. On the other team, we'll look at the other team then. So we've got Sidney Brown, safety. He's got hamstring, didn't practice. Justin Evans, safety, didn't practice. Quez Watkins, hamstring, didn't practice. Then we've got Brittany Covey, Fletcher Cox, Zach Cunningham, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Boston Scott, all on the injury report, all with limited practice. So there's quite a lot of starters there that they've got that are limited.
But let's face it, though. I mean, Fletcher Cox is going to play.
Yeah, Landon Dickerson's going to play. You know what I mean? Yeah, they are going to play.
Well.
So
Cam Jurgens is probably going to play as well.
He is. Yeah, he is. I mean, Philly are 3-0, so they coming off a 25-11 win versus the Bucks. They've also won 34-28 against the Vikings and 25-20 against the Pats. So they haven't played amazing teams or teams that we expect to be, up there at the end of the season in the NFL. Obviously, Bucks were 2-0 at the time, and they were the only team that hadn't thrown an interception. And they ran it quite close for a lot of that game. They were quite close up until the third quarter. And then I think Baker threw an interception, and then it all kind of went south after that. So, they've not been as good as people have made out or as we think they would have been. But again, they have an unbelievable squad, Philly, unfortunately. And they've only added to it with people like Jalen Carter coming in, and
I do think their safety is a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. So
especially if they're both on the injury report there.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially the injury report, and so it's one of them things really of kind of how do you beat this Philly team now? For me, you've got to do something similar to what we did last year.
Absolutely,
you've got to keep heads off the field. You've got to run the ball down the throats, different looks, but still run the ball. You know what I mean? Not just run it up the middle every single time because they'll get onto it. Change it up, but still run the ball most of the time. A 70-30 or 80-20 split type of thing. As long as we're not, obviously, but you can only do that if you're not 14-0 down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing you see is like when we get that ball, we've got to take all the time off the clock.
That's exactly it's time of possession scouts, isn't it? Again,
and that is just that. I mean, I wouldn't even put it past them if they actually did do the exact same tactics, straight, word for word, if that makes sense for this game. It's the only game that Scott Turner actually schemed well in any game. Yeah. So for me, it's like, can you do it again? And the thing is they've got better on the D line. As you mentioned, they got Carter. And the other guy, I can't can't remember.
They even picked like Keely Ringo up in the 3rd round, which is mental.
Yeah, you know, he's burnable him over the top. So if he's starting, but I don't think he is. Isn't it Sidney Brown and what's his name? The guy Terry against Slay. Yeah. So they're the two normally two stars at corner, aren't they, for them? So they're very good corners. But I think it is definitely their safeties aren't as good as last season, for example.
I agree. I agree with you. I mean, I'm looking at
Johnson is really good, you know, and then
I'm looking at this here, and I mean, you got Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat,
Davis,
Zach Cunningham, Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury,
Bradbury and
Justin Evans, Reed Blankenship, and then Darius Slate, obviously, is the other guy out there. Keely Ringo, second on the depth chart there. Jalen Carter, second on the depth chart, behind Jordan Davis. Derek Barnett as well is a very good player. Nakobe Dean, who is on an IR at the minute. Nolan Smith as another linebacker. I mean, it's basically Georgia football versus Washington this weekend. You know, that's where we're going with that. But yeah, they've got a very good O-line as well.
The O-line's probably one of the best, if not the best.
I mean, Jordan Mailata is one of the most underrated left tackles in the entire NFL. He's brilliant. I've got to give props to him. Landon Dickinson's great at guard. Kelsey, obviously, is Kelsey. Who, Mailata? Yeah, I like Mailata. Yeah, I really do like him. Anyone that comes from a rugby background and makes it in the NFL, I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. So
I hate him because he's give that buddy the QB sneak that they do that you just can't stop it.
I know
what's going to happen. You just cannot stop it. So it's his fault. Showing him rugby techniques to be able to make it work.
That's
pushing the quarterback from behind and all this and getting underneath him. And
so for us to win, then, Scouse, apart from obviously time of possession and maybe going to exactly the same tactics we talked about, a 70-30 or a 80-20 split on run play, what has to happen for us to win? Does Sam have to have the perfect game? Is it that good that we have to go down? What is it for you then? Any other keys to victory?
I mean, the defense has got to step up as well.
Mm-hmm.
We expect them to, because they're a good unit besides linebackers. They're obviously going to try and isolate our linebackers. It's understandable. They're going to use Dallas Goedert against us. So Cam Kilt's got to have a great game. He's got to be outstanding. He really does. Otherwise, Goedert will just kill us over the middle all day, and Hurts will kill us running right through the middle all day. And unless we can really slow that down, stop that. So there's two big ones. Stop Hurts' running ability, but we couldn't do it against Josh Allen. So why do you think we could do it against Jalen Hurts, who's got a better O-line? So we'll see how that rolls.
I think we both had it down on it as a loss, if I remember rightly, on the ticket.
I mean, to be fair, we said, didn't we, at the start of all of it, if we can go 2-2 from the first 4 games,
correct?
That's happy-ish with that.
I think when we got to the first quarter of the season after the Bears, we said we're 3-2. It's been okay. We're quite comfortable where we are, and I think we could still end 3-2. To be honest with you, I really do.
I think we can beat the Bears. I don't think the Bears are much cop.
No, I don't think so either. But I think this is another tough weekend. It's another tough weekend. This
away from home, Philly fans are horrible anyway. So it's going to be a horrible atmosphere for the guys. But again, normally when our back's against the wall, we tend to play better, tend to play our best ball. So I'm just hoping that he can just show up again. Another key to victory. You got to stop AJ Brown. So that's the other one. That's what I'm saying. You got Devonta Smith. That's going to be an interesting matchup. That Devonta Smith against Forbes. That'll be interesting.
Do you think they go that way, or do you think they put Forbes or do you think they put Brown on Forbes?
I think it depends. I mean, it all depends if Forbes is willing to travel. Because I think that he should be, in my opinion, he should be against Devonta Smith, because even he said at the start of his one of his first interviews for us, he said, Devonta Smith, I want.
Oh yeah, I remember. I do remember.
He got burned for 200 plus yards against them in one game when they were in college.
That's right.
So he wants to go up against Smith. So I can see that. So if he moves across, if he's willing to move across to the other sideline, then I can see them to just going at it all game. And obviously AJ Brown's up against, probably Kendall Fuller, or St. Just. And he's a difficult guy to stop. So he's so powerful in the air trying to get that ball. So it's not going to be easy, but if we can keep the offense off the field long enough, we might be able to get away with it and force into mistakes.
That's it. I think it goes to turnovers. I think if we can get a turnover of some description, if we can get the pressure in on Jalen Hurts, there is a chance that he has a brain fart, and we maybe pick one off, and we've got shorter field.
I mean,
go down the other end and score.
Good this year so far, Hurts. Have we noticed that?
He hasn't been amazing.
He's gone back to his old ways of being inaccurate. So I'm hoping that still continues this game against us. So.
It won't. It'll be amazing. It'll be $1 million. It'll be your dimes.
If someone's struggling and he can play us, it's time to get right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Washington are coming to town. It's all right. We'll get right in this one. Exactly. Did you hear Devontae Smith's voice on the mic'd up of week 2 in the NFL? He sounds like Mickey Mouse, mate. It is wild. Hi there. It's like, who's this 13-year-old kid you put in a helmet and led on the field? If you want to have a laugh and laugh at Philly, that's where we go. We don't like Philadelphia. We're gonna win.
You don't like any team in our division. Let's face it.
No, we're gonna win. We're gonna win.
This is family business. We need to go in and start smoking these guys. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But we know the Eagles are probably the best team in our division. So
they are. It's time for Ridgeway to start suplexing people again. This is
exactly.
This is where it comes from. But yeah, quick prediction then, Scouse. Thoughts about it? If you're going to go with it, what are you going to say?
I think we lose. I do. I think we lose. I think we lose by 14. I really do. So, I'm not confident in this game because I don't think that EB's patient enough to keep sticking with the run like we did last year. So I just can't see it. So I'm going to say 28-14.
Oh, great shout. I was going to go 28-13 or 28-10 is where I was looking at. So yeah, that's kind of what my playing field there or thereabouts as well. Yeah. So if we are dogs by more than 6 points, it might be worth looking at that and having a bit of a flutter maybe. But that's about does us for the week. Then we'll be back on our post-game show. We have a show. It's called I don't even know what it's called. Bleeding Burgundy with a 1 point safety in a bunker or something like that in the bunker. Yeah, whatever. It's the three shows. It's the bunker, it's 1 point safety show, and the guys from the Bleeding Burgundy. We get on after the game for a bit of a 20-minute debrief straight after the game, give our initial thoughts. It was a bit miserable last week before, pretty decent actually. Enjoyed the Denver one. Obviously it's better when you're winning. So if you get the chance, it's on YouTube. It'll be live on the Bunkers feed and also live on the Bleeding Burgundy feed. So if you want to watch that on Sunday, we'd much appreciate that too. Also, go and watch Red Zone in the Lab in the UK on this Sunday with Scouse, Christian and Deuce. And we'll be back next week. We'll be back in your feed, dropping Friday morning. We record this Thursday evening. So thanks to everybody again for your support and listening. We really appreciate it. Numbers are steadily doing well again, mate. So we are smashing it. We're nearly at 50 episodes, Scouse, which is quite ridiculous. Thanks everyone for your questions again, as always, and reaching out to us. And you really do make the show. So thank you all for those who put the questions in. And International Fan of the Year. Don't forget it as well, because you could win yourself tickets to Detroit.
Vote for us or me.
Thanks everyone, and we'll see you again next week. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.